it had different rates depending on the user. Can you do that with the kiosk?
A user being a resident versus a non-resident? Yes, because they're going to enter their... With a credit card, it's very easy. We use the billing zip code. If the billing zip code doesn't match one of the zip codes that you all have determined, then that's simple. Do these people carry any credentials that they're a resident? Like
just driver's license. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
because at Playland we use the Park Pass. We actually scan that, and if it's a valid Park Pass, it pops up a whole different screen of pricing for them. So if we can do something like that.
Also notice no change in the kiosk. Is that correct?
Correct. The one we proposed does not give change. If you
Right.
want one that gives change, then you run it into, we can do that. It becomes a more expensive kiosk because it has the cassettes in it that dispense the bills out. And therefore you have to keep it loaded with crisp, just like an ATM. You have to keep it loaded with crisp bills. We can also do change in dollar coins, which Playland tried for the first season, but somebody put in a $50 bill and asked for the $5 card, and they got 45 coins, and they walked around like this all day. So,
your average 80% of the people are just going to show up. I want to go to the beach today. They're just going to show up. They're not going to have any kind of permit in advance. They're not going to have any prepaid card. They're just going to show up. They're going to come to the gate, and then they'll go to the beach and then have to get a pass to get out, I guess, right? So that's going to be the normal transaction. They're going to probably want change. All right, it's $12 to park. Here's a 20. Where's my $8?
okay, then we will have to add a change maker to that, or they would have to buy it from one of the staffed positions.
Okay. Shrinkage, the rate you talk. Is there a standard rate in the industry in terms of?
It depends who you talk to. The retail, if you look at the retail figures, they'll say anywhere from 10 to 12% shrinkage in retail.
Sorry, what is shrinkage?
Oh, sorry.
Loss of money.
Loss of money.
Loss of money or
business,
inventory.
So money that just walks.
Letting people in for free. What you're saying, our revenue can go up 10% or down 10%?
No, there's a standard rate. If you're in a cash business, they're saying you lose about 10 to 12% because it's all cash.
Right.
And that retail includes inventory shrinkage too, cash and goods. So I'd say in this situation, there's really no inventory that we're worried about. I don't think you're selling anything there that they're going to walk away with. So probably a little less than that.
Well, free access would be inventory.
Software integration, I guess.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Just to understand the concept. So you're saying that we're in the past where we had a cash system. Now that we move to a cashless system, we should be able to eliminate the shrinkage.
You're still going to have cash because people are still going to want to go up to the cashiers at the beach and pay cash. So you're not going to eliminate cash completely, but the cash is going to be stored in with fewer cashiers because you're not going to have in our proposal, you won't have the ticket booth cashiers. But more importantly, you're going to have the reporting and the transaction detail that I don't believe you have now with the system you have now. I think you have sort of a dumb cash register that really doesn't have real-time stamping of all the transactions, and at the end of the...
No,
does it?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Apologize for that. So that's usually one of the problems is there's no real-time data. I can't walk up to you right now and say, okay, you should have $42.52 in your drawer. But if you have that now, that's wonderful.
Three final questions. Software integration. I guess they've invested in software already. Have you gone into situations where you can integrate with the existing computer system that's been established?
In terms of, I mean, the short answer is yes, but what kind of software have they invested in?
I can't necessarily address the software. We're using Microsoft Retail Management System.
It's like a restaurant point of sale system,
Right.
basically.
Is it
and
Micros?
we're using
Micros.
Right.
HP point of sale equipment.
I would okay, so instead of using those ones that we suggested, the stainless steel ones, we can use a touchscreen point of sale, or just a regular PC. As far as the software, they're using that just to take people into the park for beach?
For the parking and for the beach access.
Right.
Bishop, is it Micros?
Yeah.
It's Microsoft Retail Management is what it's called.
Yeah, we would not interface with that
RMS.
software. No, but we could use the hardware most likely as long as it's got 512 megabytes of RAM and basic stuff like that. We could use that hardware, which would eliminate the need for those other devices that we quoted in there.
And in fact, our hardware, most of them have the card readers. They have the point of sale We have the printers, we have the hand scanners. I'm not
Perfect.
sure if they integrate with your system.
No,
But each workstation is fully outfitted.
Then we can use that. We did that at Playland. We used all the stuff they had already, which was all little Dell computers they had.
All right.
So that's
That was
fine.
$50,000 we invested 2 years ago.
So, you've got all these component parts. Is this what degree is this a customized solution versus is it a staple recommendation that other people are using, soup to nuts with a reverse gate as you roll in, and end-to-end solution? Is this a standard?
Yes, this is a standard. So we don't really do custom software.
So who else is
particularly.
using this type of all of this technology, all of the elements you're proposing here?
Well, Playland's using it.
Do they have the
No, they don't do
spikes?
that. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I can find out the other places are using it.
Okay.
I think they're not on the East Coast. We have customers everywhere.
All right. That's all I have.
Did you have
And we don't have to
I
do
have
it that way, by
some
the way. We
questions,
can
but
do it
other-
the traditional way, but
Other questions for Mayor Feinstein?
That's
Yeah,
Pam on the way
I
in.
just wanted to elaborate a little bit about, you are leaving the beach right now and you're parking. And because it's differentiated parking, what type of information, is it a default information that you are a non-resident unless you scan something?
that's what we need to discuss. What
Yeah,
would
I
they
think
have
my concern is with the differentiated pricing, non-residents who are the primary, predominantly users of the park pay more than residents. I want to make sure, I don't want to alienate our residents who pay at a lesser rate, but how do we make sure that non-residents aren't putting information that would be favorable to residents? So I would think there'd be a default mechanism, which unless you show a card indicating that you're a resident, and I want to make it easy, so can you explain that to me a little bit?
Well, there are different ways we can do it. We can have the default pricing be the more expensive non-resident pricing. We can have, if you're talking about a staffed point of sale, staffed place, then the cashier can look at their credential, their driver's license or whatever it
We're
is.
trying
that
to
you
get
look
away
at
from
now.
that model, so I guess my question is, the only thing that I can think of, and you're more have expertise, is that you'd have to show something more or scan something into the machine, which would be, as you said, why Playland has a card.
It's a Westchester Park Pass, actually.
Park
It's
Pass.
the Westchester
So we
Park
might need something
Pass.
comparable to that. I'm just trying to think out loud.
No, that's very good. We actually integrate to the Westchester Park Pass database, so we know all the numbers that are valid Park Pass and their names. So when they scan a valid Park Pass, it comes up on the kiosk or on the thing that you get special pricing, and it won't allow you to do that unless you scan a valid Park Pass. Now, a driver's license works, but it's got a few problems. The first is not everybody has one. Certainly not children don't always have one. People don't always have it with them. They probably should, but they don't. If they're going to the beach, not everybody brings their driver's license to the beach. And the other way to do it is with credit card. You can use the billings. When you pay with your credit card, you can type in your zip code, which has to match, or it fails, as you know. The problem with that is many people living in this county have credit cards where the billing zip code could be Manhattan.
Right.
So it's a tough nut to crack. It really is. The best thing is something like a Westchester Park Pass or a town ID that has a barcode on it. And I don't know if you have that right now.
No, but I think that could work, really.
You do have it?
Yeah, because we sell permits.
Okay.
But this would be for the non-permitted, I'm just trying to think, a mechanism that wouldn't, if this was used, that wouldn't alienate our residents who are non-permit holders, who are finding out that the default rate is higher.
I'm just worried that, non-residents know all the zip codes in the town.
Well, that's why the default would have to be, I'm just thinking out loud once again, would be the non-resident rate. It's just,
It would mean that all residents need a car.
yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Which may not be a bad thing, if I may step in, Mr. Chair.
We might be able to get it.
If our goal is to make the beach convenient and free, ultimately, to our residents, and if they had to have that card that was a paltry amount of money for them to get that privilege, that'd be, that's in essence what Playland does, really. We have a jurisdiction, the village of Mamaroneck, where it's one zip code, but we only take half the village, or literally a third of the village. So a lot of the conventional
interesting.
mechanisms with the credit card probably wouldn't work if we just kept it to Rye-Neck only, for instance, in that example.
The other thing you could do is to sell the residents a season parking pass. If they want it, do they come? I assume they come fairly often. Maybe that's
Not
not
well.
the case.
It's $1 million operation. That $950,000 of the revenue comes in from non-residents. So we run the park for non-residents. It seems, unfortunately.
Okay.
And that's why, honestly, if a solution like this could, I like the unattended exit, the parking management piece there. And I know the other day we talked about the staffing at the beach access, but not necessarily at the gate. But if we basically saved a little bit of revenue on staffing, then that dream, basically we get $60,000 of revenue from residents. If we could shave $60,000 of expenses, then we could make the parking and the beach access for residents free,
So
period.
what's the $60,000?
Personnel.
Personnel, reduction personnel costs.
Yeah.
And how are we calculating that number?
That's from the revenue forecast that we have in the various financial schedules that we've gotten.
Can I ask one question? If people pay when they leave, the way we have it now, there's a price that you pay from 9 a.m. to, say, 6 o'clock. And then after 6, it's cheaper. But what if somebody comes in at 4 o'clock and they don't leave till 8 o'clock? Then what?
So let's see. I come in at 4, and I should be paying.
They should be paying the daytime price, which is usually like double the evening price. And there's no way to catch that if you don't have them pay when they come in.
Unless you issue them a ticket like a car parking
The
lot.
idea was to have to drive straight through with getting something, but I don't see how we can do that in our current pricing situation.
Without identifying what time they came in, that would be tough. I don't know if I was aware that there was a different. We may have to rethink that. Let me give that some thought. That should be, if you do issue another document, that's the kind of thing that needs to be included so that we can be creative and think of ways to do it.
Can you handle it where upon entry, well, that would be a gate instead of the unattended, ungated entry where they get a ticket on the
Well,
way
I mean,
in?
the other way to do it
That's-
would, but again, this involves labor, is that once you've entered, because we've done this approach, you've gone over the entry thing, you have to go get your parking pass immediately and stick it in your window. You've seen that, so that we know you've paid the right price, but that involves someone going around and checking, and in this case,
Right.
yeah, you're trying to avoid having to have anybody in the parking lot. I think that's the idea. But you've all seen those systems where you have to put it in your window, and if it's not there, you get a ticket.
Pay and display, right?
Pardon?
Is that
On
also a
display.
system you guys can provide? Is it
Yeah.
the same? So it's just the cost of one person going around checking.
It's when basically you'd be telling them, you have to go get your parking ticket from the kiosk
Right.
now, when you come in, and put it on display in your car.
So why did you recommend that option?
Well, I wasn't aware of maybe that was my bad, I was not aware of the differential pricing. I wasn't aware of the
You're
twilight.
still taking cash out of the system this way, and it's the cost of one person to go around and periodically check. Okay.
And that would ensure that you bought the right price
Yeah,
Right.
ticket.
that would do it. May I ask, with the turnstile for the beach access, how is that implemented where there's like strollers and wagons and things like that?
Excellent question. You need a separate entry, because you can't have you ever tried to go through a thing with a stroller
Yeah.
or pulling a wagon? It's not easy. So usually in those situations, there's an alternate gate, and someone has to unlock the gate to let the person in the wheelchair or the stroller. There is no good way around that. But if you've got people at the beach entries, I don't think you need it personally. And again, I haven't been there. I'd like to go there this summer. I don't know if you need someone with going through a turnstile. If they have to stop at the ticket person and she's going to scan their print at home, or they're going to hand her $8 or whatever the price is, she or he is the barrier for them to go through. But the turnstile does present a problem for certain handicapped people and strollers. It's very difficult.
What type of decrease in staffing levels are typical? Can you give us anecdotal stories about like decreases in staffing from a fully attended manual system or semi-automated, I'll call it?
To be honest with you, many of our clients, because they do a lot more than parking, they're running whole
they're
parks.
busy, yeah.
So they actually not necessarily will decrease their head count, but they will move the people into more productive positions, or the person who was trying to do everything has more time now to actually look at reports and manage than they had before. I don't know if that makes sense. But,
Yeah, it does actually.
yeah. So, but the system generally pays for itself in a season, in a park. So I would
How
consider.
does it do that?
How does it do that?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty good POS system right now. So usually we would say that cash handling and cash control is a big part of that. So, potentially eliminating a position, it sounds like you could do that, so that would be part of it. When people buy online, because I don't think you've ever offered that before. I don't know if you've offered a season pass to the beach before. But when people can buy online in advance, they tend to we call it loading up their card. They tend to say, well, they're offering this really good deal that if I come 10 times, I get a better deal, or if I park 10 times, I'm going to get this deal. So I think I've done it, I'm sure you've all done it. You load up the card, and then you end up not using it. It's called breakage on the card, where you don't end up using it. And gift card breakage is, in the retail industry, is about 15 to 20% of those gift cards 15 to 20% of the value never gets used. So there's a number of different ways that the system pays for itself.
And Terry and Fred, you have 2 people at each parking booth all the time, basically. So that's...
What's the
Beach access also.
So
we're going to have to wrap this up
$35,000
because just one quick question.
Right.
How easy or difficult is it to do this year round? In other words, there's no reason why we can't do this year round, correct?
Correct. You mean let people come in?
Off-season.
Yeah. No, it's yours to
That's
use.
one of the interesting.
All year
One of the
round.
vendors
It's
has,
just
yeah.
different rates.
Yeah.
Do you have leasing options?
Stocking stuffers.
Sell it outright.
What season? One of the
Stocking
vendors
stuffers,
has-
yeah.
What
Online.
season?
No, seriously, our people make a lot of money through online sales at Christmas time. It makes a great gift,
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have leasing options, or is it just outright sales?
We usually do outright sales, and our clients usually we can recommend financing companies that do this kind of system to you. We generally don't like to lease fund it ourselves, but we could look at that. So, I guess the bottom line is, there's a lot of great ideas. I'm sure the other companies had some great ideas too. When we work with our customers, our main thing is to help them increase their revenue. So, we would welcome the opportunity to come back and talk about that in more detail. But there's a lot of possibilities that aren't happening right now.
Well, I get there's nothing wrong, obviously, with Kristie meeting with the staff, is there?
We should provide some direction, I think, before we get all over the place.
Right.
I'm happy to, I'm down here a lot with other clients, Fun Fusion and Playland, and
Right.
so.
I have one last, I think I remember it was your proposal talking about timing of any system, at least the type of product that you're talking about. And my recollection is that you needed about, from the time a contract was signed, assuming it was your company, based upon your proposal, you needed 60 days?
Yes, that's very good. We always have project planning meetings. That's the first order of business, and that's included in the proposal, where we come in and sit down with all the stakeholders, sounds like you're one of them, and talk about how it's going to impact them, because you've got to get buy-in from everybody. And we need about 60 days, because you need time to get the cement pedestals built, and that's about as short a time frame as we can do to get the system up and running, the product delivered, the web sales mounted, etc. So I know that your season is approaching quickly.
Do you know if does your product or any product out there integrate with Easy Pass for a payment process? Just curious.
No, we don't. I'm almost afraid to go to approach that one, because it's,
Well, it's just,
New York
it's
State.
a transaction,
but no,
that's all it is.
Yeah, I know. It's an interesting question. I was thinking about it today as I was coming here, actually. I could certainly look into it. We'd be trying to get money from the state. That would be interesting.
I would suggest, though, before we start engaging different proposers, that we look at the RFPs the staff does. Maybe if we want the ad hoc parking committee to review some of the proposals, then we can narrow it down to 2 or 3, and then start to engage the proposals.
Perfect. Well, let's let Kristie go. Thank you, Kristie. Thanks so much for that.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think that's a wonderful suggestion, Mayor French. Let's do that.
Are all the responses to the RFPs, are they all now public documents, or how does that work?
Sure.
They've been public documents. They may not have been accessible at the public, but they are public documents.
Okay. So you'll put them online, or
We will
make them
put
available?
all the responders online as PDF files.
Okay.
Thanks, Bishop.
And can we have a working session then with commission members, people from our parking committee, staff, to discuss raise questions, and then we can go back to specific responders with questions. And then
Absolutely, yeah.
And can we talk about a time frame of this? I mean, I think it was the goal of this commission to have something up and running for the summer. I'm just not sure the timing. There seems to be a lot of work, a lot of decisions to be made. So I just don't know what the time frame
We
is.
clearly can't.
And maybe we should try to have a time frame for decision making where information.
That's absolutely correct. There's no way we can delay beyond the next meeting.
Right.
That
is correct.
I think
That
it's
is
a challenge
correct.
to get it.
It's a challenge
Sounds
to do
like
that,
60
yeah.
days would just make it, so we.
At least with this
I don't see how
particular
we can.
proposal.
I don't know how, we're not in a position to decide this evening, obviously.
Oh, no, of course not. I'm
But I
just trying
think
to
what
be
we-
realistic and looking at timeframes here, because it's something that
Sure.
we've been discussing for a while to see what,
Opening April 1st.
yeah.
So we need to.
Mr. Supervisor, may I
Please.
ask, how would we anticipate funding something
Yeah,
like
I was just gonna
this?
ask that
And
the
what's
same.
the lead time
And that's-
to do that?
Is it a capitalized cost or is it
Yeah.
a operational cost?
Yeah.
So we need to, before we adopt the budget, include it in the budget.
Right.
Or some fashion of it in the budget.
I guess that was one of the reasons
Short-sighted if you don't.
before we talked about the budget, whether this is realistic for.
Is there an estoppel period? May I ask the controller, Sam? Is there an estoppel period if we were to ban this or something? Do the equivalent of a ban?
The dollar amounts would be so small.
Yeah, so it's $100,000. We wouldn't have to have it subjected to permissive referendum the way we would municipal
We're going to
finance.
split it between the two municipalities, which will bring it down even 50,000.
If you have
down.
to
I wouldn't- we wouldn't have to go out for 30 days.
No?
Wonderful. So we need to organize ourselves to come up with a decision. Mayor French, I think your suggestion is that we have a work committee meeting here.
Yeah.
Commissioner Salvatore, are you going to continue to sort of drive this effort?
I
Yeah, I'm
think-
happy to. With
I
Bishop,
think
actually, he had a lot of value.
The next step is really to meet as a committee of the whole with the ad hoc Rye City Committee.
Wonderful.
Because they had some great ideas as well.
Beautiful.
And the outline is just that, it's just an outline, but at least it gets the ball rolling for that. But I think we're in agreement that a new RFP should be crafted before we, or do you think we have enough information to award something with the
Well, I guess
RFPs
the question
received?
is, if you go into the RFP, you're never going to get done this year, are you?
That's correct.
no,
That's correct. No,
no.
never.
So let's define our goal. Do we want to get it done this year? And if so, then we have to motivate the process in that fashion.
I think the question is, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And I guess once, in fact, those ad hoc meetings take place, that will be really determine whether or not an RFP is forthcoming. But we shouldn't be, I think the goal of all of us was to do it this year, but let's not be short-sighted.
Yeah, I don't think we have to really look at the, I think you can install a new system, as the year progresses. It doesn't have to be May 1st, for that matter. It could be sometime in June. And actually, it'll be a good reporting of month to month if you follow.
Because I think that even the presenter from Core Cashless envisioned that there would be another RFP as well. So I think we do have to have another RFP, and if that means we can't get it by April 1st or June 1st, but we can get it at some point during the summer, I don't think that should deter us from doing it right, as you say, Mayor.
So
You may
can
also
I-
want to get it towards the latter part of the summer and see what's in there, for the last month to iron out some of the kinks for the year after. That buys us more time. We're not going to do it at the beginning, just do it
Well,
towards the latter part.
Can I make a suggestion? Commissioner Salnitro and Commissioner Pillar, first of all, thanks so much for your work on this. Mr. Nowotny, same to you. Can the three of you organize a meeting with the Rye adjunct park and come back to us with a recommendation at the next meeting, how to move forward?
That'd be fine,
Perfect.
sure. Bishop, you could schedule it through my office.
Yep. Fantastic. Thanks very much. Again, thanks for your hard work.
Yeah, just on face, the other day when we were talking about the beach access, it was like $35,000 in personnel costs. If you assume this is a $111,000 investment, it's a 3-year break even, right? If you had a totally unattended parking gate. So there's merit to pursuing it sooner than later, I think.
All right, I need to forewarn the commission, we're in a hard stop at 7:30, so a half an hour. The parking fees, I think we've had a lot of discussion on this. Maybe Bishop, you want to walk us through?
Extremely quickly.
Yep.
We tried to highlight all the various changes. You'll see that we're bringing back non-resident permits, which we did not issue last year. There weren't that many. There were about 110 or 120. Where, as an inducement, we're altering the age of children allowed under a family permit. Used to be under 13, now it's under 18. Again, that's to make the family permit more attractive. Based on the conversations we had at the last meeting, we've eliminated the gold category for gold single and family. Those would be integrated into the regular pricing. You'll notice that we did not change any of the permit pricing, so the permit pricing remains as it was last year. What's happening is that the permit holders are getting a reduction in cost because what we've done is for permit holders, we've eliminated the beach fees. So they don't have to cough up $1 a person when they go to the beach.
You said that, I'm sorry, I thought the resident single, the resident family rates had increased because that you incorporated the beach access.
Well, we had talked about that, and I think...
Because those numbers have gone up a little bit, as I recall.
Commissioner Pilla had indicated that, why are we, if we're trying to attract residents, why are we increasing the resident permit fees? The amount of revenue lost there was relatively minor, quite frankly. It was
No, but the permit fees have gone, as my recollection, from 110 to 120, from 120 to 150, but you made the beach access free. Is that
I think I'm not sure. Are you looking at the right sheet? Because my sheet says 110 and 130.
That was the way it initially was, Mayor Feinstein.
No, this is the sheet that I was...
Right, the original sheet that we sent out, and then...
Yeah, I have the one that I picked up yesterday.
Oh, okay.
From my board package.
This is
my board.
Correct. Well, again, this is a very dynamic process.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
So, in essence, what that does is that for permit holders, it becomes a reduction in cost for the season. The key point is we are looking to let the lifeguards go at 5 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. Right now, we're running a 9-hour day with the lifeguards from 9 a.m. to 6. We're recommending 5 o'clock, and that helps us when we come into the evening parking side of the equation. You'll remember we have the Seaside Johnny's argument about why do my people have to pay so much for parking. His customers now for dinner would come in and pay the evening parking rate, which is basically what we've agreed to as a proper charge.
Well, we've talked about these fees a lot in previous sessions. Maybe the easiest way to do this is, does anybody have any objections to what's proposed here? I think we've accommodated a lot of what's been discussed. The idea is to enhance the resident participation. We've looked to do that. I think we're looking to accentuate the permits, promote the permits. So is there any comments from the Commission on the pricing, any disagreements?
I just have one more question. As I look at the parking on the weekends and holidays, 5 p.m. till it says $5 for all cars.
Right.
Last year, was it 10? Is this a reduction?
For holidays, it was 10, yes.
Okay. I just can't recall. Did we discuss that there should be a reduction? Or is this a staff recommendation?
This was a staff recommendation that was made.
I just want to point it out to the
Commission. It was a bit on the pricey side in terms of after hours.
Can I ask some questions, John?
Please, yep.
The resident senior permit, $30, that's a lifetime permit?
That's correct. That's a one-time fee.
I thought that used to be $50.
No, that was the non-resident senior permit, if you look down below.
No, yeah, I know, but I still thought the resident was $50.
No, it's 25, and we
So you turn 62, you pay $30, and you've got lifetime access to the park.
Well, that's what the Commission voted on.
No, I'm asked, that's a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But not for non-resident seniors.
Not for
is that correct?
non-residents. Non-residents have to buy
an
annual permit. And non-residents have to pay parking, whereas residents, seniors, get free parking and free beach. So you're basically giving them free on both sides.
And 62 is the age for a senior.
Yeah, I qualify.
Some of us will.
And the supervisor is 1 year closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anyone else think that a $30 lifetime
I think it's
permit,
ridiculous.
you think it's great?
No, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, at $30...
and I'm going to say something. I think it's ridiculous because I think that you can have a senior, and listen, I'm a senior. We're very close to this. I mean, to think that you can use it for, 20 years, 30 years, 5 times a week. I mean, I want to be fair to our seniors. I certainly understand.
Yeah, I mean...
I want to encourage our seniors to, but
I want to, okay.
I'm grandfather in, yeah.
Right.
So, is there a recommendation that this be changed?
I wouldn't want to grandfather everybody in, but new permits, though, it's hard for us to say a lifetime pass to the beach.
I don't
Seniors
disagree.
buy 'em and
Of
move
course, it
away.
is an election year in the town, right? But
You know what?